Chapter 4 pushes the story deeper into psychological territory. At this point, the main character isn't just adapting to his second life anymore. He's preparing himself, carefully, quietly, like someone sharpening a weapon before battle. And the scariest part is how naturally he does it. The chapter keeps showing how observant he is. Whenever he interacts with people, he immediately studies them, their habits, their speech, their emotions, even their insecurities. It feels less like conversation and more like analysis. And honestly, that's what makes him terrifying compared to normal protagonists. Most people communicate emotionally, but the main character communicates strategically. Every expression he shows is controlled. Every reaction feels calculated. Even when he smiles, it feels like he's choosing the exact smile that will produce the best result. That's why everyone around him slowly starts getting drawn toward him without understanding why. Because he knows exactly what kind of face people want to see. And Chapter 4 really emphasizes the meaning behind the title, the thousand-faced actor. This man doesn't have a single identity. He creates identities, instantly, naturally, almost perfectly. As the chapter continues, we see him moving even closer toward acting opportunities. But unlike normal people entering the entertainment industry with dreams and passion, he treats it like the perfect environment for survival, a place where masks are rewarded, a world where fake emotions become valuable. And honestly, for someone like him, acting may be the only profession where his unnatural abilities actually make sense. One of the best things about this chapter is the uncomfortable atmosphere surrounding the main character. Even when he's calm, there's this hidden tension that makes you wonder what he's truly thinking. Because the story constantly reminds us, this man survived his previous life through manipulation, through deception, through becoming whoever people needed him to be. And now, he's applying those exact skills to acting. The chapter also hints that the line between acting and reality is starting to disappear for him. When normal actors perform, they imitate emotions. But this guy, he completely absorbs personalities. Like he temporarily erases himself and becomes another person entirely. And honestly, that's more disturbing than impressive. The people around him start seeing talent, but readers start seeing obsession. Because every chapter makes it harder to tell whether he's genuinely changing as a person or simply creating a newer, better mask. That psychological mystery is what makes this story so addictive. You want to believe he's becoming better, but at the same time, he still feels dangerous, almost inhuman, like someone who understands human nature too deeply. And Chapter 4 basically confirms one thing. The main character may become an incredible actor, not because he learned acting, but because he spent his entire life mastering the art of becoming someone else. But the truly terrifying part hasn't even started yet, because once he finally steps in front of cameras, people won't just see acting talent. They'll witness a man who can completely erase himself and become anyone he wants. If not subscribed yet, please make sure to subscribe. Chapter 5 starts making the main character feel less like a talented person and more like a psychological monster. At this point in the story, we can clearly see that his past life changed him permanently. He doesn't think emotionally anymore. He thinks strategically. Every interaction feels calculated. Every expression feels chosen. And the chapter constantly reminds us that this man survived through deception for years. That's why acting feels almost natural to him. As the chapter continues, we see the main character getting closer to opportunities inside the entertainment world. But unlike normal beginners who get nervous or excited, he stays unbelievably calm, almost too calm. Instead of feeling pressure, he observes everything around him, the people, the atmosphere, the reactions, like he's gathering information before making a move. And honestly, that's what makes him different from every other acting protagonist. Most actors try to express emotions, but this guy studies emotions like a scientist. He understands exactly how fear looks, how sadness sounds, how confidence affects people, because he manipulated those emotions long before becoming an actor. One of the most interesting things in Chapter 5 is how the story slowly blurs the line between acting and manipulation. For normal actors, acting is performance. For the main character, it's identity control. Whenever he talks to someone, his personality changes slightly to match what the other person wants. and he does it so naturally that people don't even notice. That's why others around him slowly start becoming fascinated by him. There's something strangely realistic about the way he behaves, something difficult to explain. And honestly, that realism comes from the fact that he isn't pretending. He truly understands human psychology on a terrifying level. The chapter also starts hinting that the main character may actually enjoy acting for a deeper reason. For the first time in his life, his ability to wear masks is being praised instead of feared. Think about it. In his previous life, deception destroyed him. But now, those exact same skills could make him successful. That's why acting feels almost destined for him. A perfect world for someone who spent his entire life becoming other people. And the scariest part is how completely he transforms when he focuses. When normal actors perform, you can still see traces of their real personality underneath. But when this guy changes, it feels like the original person disappears entirely, like he abandons himself and becomes someone new. That creepy psychological feeling becomes the strongest part of Chapter 5, because readers start asking themselves, does this man even have a real personality anymore? Or has he spent so long pretending that all his masks became his true self? And honestly, that question makes every scene with him feel intense, because you never know whether the face he's showing is genuine or just another perfectly crafted performance. But things are about to become even more terrifying, because soon, the entertainment industry will finally witness his true talent. And once people see how perfectly he can transform into another human being, they'll stop calling it acting. Chapter 6 continues building this dark psychological tension around the main character. At this point, it's becoming obvious that he doesn't see the world like normal people anymore. Every interaction feels calculated. Every expression feels intentional. And honestly, the chapter makes him feel less like a human actor and more like someone engineered to manipulate people. The chapter starts showing him getting even closer to the entertainment industry. But unlike normal beginners who dream about fame or success, the main character approaches acting differently. To him, acting isn't art, it's control. He studies people constantly, the way they speak, the way they react emotionally, the tiny habits most people never notice. And because of his past life as a manipulator and scammer, he already understands something most actors spend years trying to learn. People only believe what they want to see. That's why he's so dangerous, because he knows exactly how to become the version of himself others will trust. One of the best things about Chapter 6 is how naturally he changes personalities depending on the situation. When he talks to someone nervous, he becomes calming. When he meets someone confident, he becomes sharp and composed. It's almost like his personality has no fixed shape anymore. And honestly, that's creepy, because every chapter makes it harder to tell which side of him is real. The chapter also starts showing how terrifying his acting potential really is. Normal actors imitate emotions from memory or imagination, but the main character, he reconstructs people completely, like he can temporarily erase himself and replace his entire identity. That's why everyone around him slowly starts feeling overwhelmed by his presence. Even when he's doing something simple, there's this strange realism to him, a feeling that he isn't acting at all. And the scariest part is, they're right. Because deception has been part of his survival instinct for years. The chapter keeps hinting that the line between his real self and his fake personas is disappearing more and more. Whenever he changes expressions or adjusts his personality, it happens too smoothly, too naturally, like he's been doing it his entire life. And honestly, that's probably true. One thing Chapter 6 does really well is creating psychological discomfort. You want to root for the main character because he's intelligent and fascinating, but at the same time, he feels dangerous, almost inhuman, like someone who understands people too deeply. And that's what makes this story different from normal acting manhwa. This isn't just about talent, it's about identity. A man who spent his entire life lying to survive, finally finding a world where lying is rewarded, and the more he enters that world, the more terrifyingly perfect he becomes for it. The chapter basically tells us one important thing. The main character may become the greatest actor alive because he already mastered the hardest part long ago, becoming someone else. Yu Tu Yun plus one. But things are about to get even darker, because once people finally witness the full extent of his transformation abilities, they'll stop seeing him as a talented actor and start seeing him as something completely unnatural. If you want next part, please make sure to subscribe. Thanks.